Pose. Alongside me is Justin D'Antonio. Justin, we are halfway through the event. It's been a great weekend so far. Had a lot of fireworks last night in the men's and women's doubles finals. Why don't you kind of give us a quick recap of some of the things you saw last night?
Well, so out of the events we have this weekend, we have already completed 2 of them. The men's and women's doubles finals last night concluded with a victory for Texas Wesleyan on the women's side, and the Algetti brothers from Indiana taking it on the men's side. In addition, we've started the Coed and Teams draws, and we're seeing a very competitive match here this morning already, with the 4 seed versus the 6 seed on courts 1.
Representing who? Both athletes and their schools are representing institutions that have mascot colors in purple. So on the far end with NYU on his chest is Jeremy Hazen, and Terrence Young is with Western with Young on the back of his shirt. So if you're just tuning in and you're seeing purple, they are not teammates. It is NYU versus Western.
A couple less common things about this matchup for the schools match to get this far against UT Dallas. It was their 3rd seed, Joyce Shu, playing with their 1st seed, Terrence Young, and that was an absolutely insane battle, with Western winning 12-10 in the 5th game of that doubles tiebreaker. NYU, I have not seen as much of their journey to this match, but I have a feeling it was a little bit less of a fight. So we'll see whether that delta in energy spent plays a factor into what they have left to fight this morning.
Here we are, up to a very traditional Jeremy Hazen style point, controlling the point from the center of the table, not doing a whole lot. He's going to be very strategic with his play. He's going to open the court up a little bit. As a lefty, he's used to doing it against predominantly right-handers, but this one it's going to be interesting as he's also facing another lefty. And as you can see there again, very steady, 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 and wait for his opening.
It feels like we're in mirror world right now, playing all right box to right box rallies. So used to seeing that other cross-court direction dominating most rallies, waiting for that opening to the forehand side, normally being on the right. But right now, they're both trying to keep to their lefty backhands, knowing that the opponent has a very powerful put-away forehand at their disposal. And you can see Terrence Young working hard to shift out wide and set up a forehand. Not prevailing though. Jeremy just redirecting it and controlling the open space very well there.
And absolutely there, Justin, it's going to be a lot of work for Terrence today if he wants to stay in this match. Jeremy's going to be very content with just kind of blocking him down, chop blocking, moving the ball throughout the court, because he's not really fazed by big hitters or people that are spinning.
And we see another example there of Terrence pulling the trigger early, shifting out very wide to try to attack and get Jeremy on his heels. But Jeremy's just able to take that in stride. Take that in stride, redirect it to the open space created by Terrence stepping out to attack.
That time we saw a rare over the top backhand miss by Jeremy. Again, Players allowed to go to the towel box every 6 points. And that's certainly one that Terrence wants back. He had a great open to that backhand loop. It just takes it a little off the top. And again, you have to be very, very patient. As you can see, Jeremy takes this game pretty easily, 11-3 in game number 1. Didn't seem like Terrence had a whole lot to offer in that match. I know that there was at least 3 or 4 points where he was being the aggressor, wanting to start the offense, and he just kept clipping the top of the tape, really either hitting the tape and falling back over or hitting the top of the net and clipping, spin carrying along. So he definitely has the game plan where he's going to attack first. Jeremy is going to be, again, very content with allowing him to open up the attack first and move the ball around and take his chances that way. I think for sure Terrence is going to have to be a little bit more patient going into game number 2 and see whether or not, Jeremy's going to be the one to initiate offense early. But if he can help himself, maybe give him one extra ball to hit until he really feels like he has a chance, because some of those, again, he just really went to the step around on the forehand side really quickly.
Game 2, Jeremy serve, level.
Terrence knows he has to work for this. Jeremy is really at the pinnacle of his performance. He was playing in a tournament a few weeks ago. I believe it was some sort of national tournament. I was talking with Matt Hetherington about it, and he just absolutely dominated a majority of his opponents, beating them 3-0 at the national level again. So Terrence, between the two of them, we have a 200-point rating deficit with Jeremy Hazen at 2574 in the NCTTA rating system, and Terrence at 2371. So Terrence's work is cut out for him here this month.
Yeah, let's not forget that Jeremy also competes on MLTT, so with his regular school schedule and training, he's also getting some really high-level professional matches every other weekend or every 3rd week with that MLTT tour.
Interestingly enough, from what I can see, neither of these players will be competing in the men's singles event. Obviously, Jeremy would have been one of the top seeds in that event. I believe he would be around the top 6.
Yeah, and those are the ones, Justin, that Terrence really has to connect with. He's allowed Jeremy to creep his way back in this match. He had a 2-point lead early on at 4-2, but now it is now tied at 6-all. And you just don't want to give Jeremy any kind of momentum after being down already 1-0 in this match. If Western is to have any chance of this to go to doubles, Terrence has to take this match against Jeremy Hazen. Nice counter there by Terrence Young.
And we've seen Terrence really trying to push the envelope here, be the first to attack. Maybe he's realizing now that solution isn't going to be the best because Jeremy is so used to the counter defense, being a close table player and using the power of his opponent to dominate points.
And Terrence so quick there that the left foot ends up actually kicking into the graphic barrier display there on the table.
Of course, the second singles match currently being played on court 2, Jia Yinli versus Calvin Chen. Just saw a fun little 360 shot from Calvin Chen in my peripherals. So tune in there if you're excited for that as well. Jeremy taking game 2, 11-8. A few errors off of Young in the second half of that game in positions where he did really have opportunities to put some pressure on Hazen. Perhaps not calibrated yet, being the first match of the day, certainly a tough one to start with. Maybe he can get his bearing in this third. Certainly a better game, this second one for Terrence than that first, very significantly.
It definitely felt like Terrence had opportunities in that game within the first 6 points. And then he pressed a little bit more. It was close. I mean, to be at 7-7, at that point you know start to think maybe he should have taken a timeout and come up with some game plan to go into the back end of that game. He definitely was hitting some of his shots. Jeremy was going for a little bit more on some of his shots, which is for him to be the initiator of offense is not really the first strategy for him. But again, I think Terrence had chances in game number 2 and he let them slip away.
We need to see Terrence capitalizing on those weak returns that he's forcing from Jeremy more often. Many errors on the looser balls in game 2 from Terrence.
Just a super impressive forehand out wide from Jeremy. Just too much on that ball for Terrence to touch. And again, he goes right back to the well with the big loop bending forehand out wide. Just an unlucky net ball there off the forehand smash. Justin, you've got to be thinking here that Terrence and the team probably need to just go ahead and call a timeout. I mean, they're trailing 6-2, down 2 games. This could quickly get out of hand just within a matter of points. So if I was the coaches on the bench, for sure, I'd say, hey, let's go ahead and call timeout.
Absolutely. At a certain point, you're digging your own grave. You have to change something up. But at the same time, he knows how solid Jeremy is. He's very familiar with Jeremy's game. And perhaps he doesn't have a plan B, and he's just playing it out. It's really hard to say what to do here. But if it were possible, I would think that anything he could do to get Jeremy playing back off the table, get him out of his power position up close, like that prior rally.
Yeah, it's just so
certainly
hard. Jeremy's just, almost like seeing it at the table, at the edge of the table. So, good luck pushing him off his spot. Very disciplined with wanting to control the point from there.
For sure. He really stands his ground well.
So we have match point here. Terrence Young of Western to serve, 3-10 in the third. And there you have it. Jeremy Hazen gets NYU on the board first to take the first point out of this co-ed team quarterfinal. 11-3, 11-8, 11-3. It's a good tournament, though, for Terrence Young of Western. They had a good run. Obviously, his team showed a very good performance yesterday, especially on the women's side of things. So, again, congratulations to Western. They do still have action going on the outside court. Jai Ni versus Calvin Chan. And coming up next, it's going to be Joyce Shu versus Steven Granaturov of NYU. There we have it. The third singles is underway, Justin. Joyce Shu of Western versus Steven Granaturov of NYU. Granaturov, a graduate student at NYU. First time we've seen him in action. Obviously today, we did see him play doubles yesterday.
And certainly not the first we've seen of Joyce, a powerhouse from the Western team, playing a pivotal role on both their co-ed and women's teams the last few years.
Yeah, Joyce really is it's all on her shoulders right now, unfortunately. Here, Justin, she has to be able to get this win. She's already off to a really great start in game number one. And even better with that open table counter block cross court. Steven steps around, hits a big forehand, and Joyce is right there for the open court. This is going to be really exciting to see what could possibly happen here. But again, Joyce is the X factor. She has to get on the board or it's over for Western. NYU already off to a 2-0 start as Calvin Chan takes care of business out on table number 2.
Joyce coming off of the first medaling event of the tournament last night, taking second place in the women's doubles with teammate Jiayi Ni.
But she's following up her great start to the weekend on here on this Friday with an 8-2 lead here in game number 1. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is day 2 of the 2024 Collegiate National Table Tennis Championships. You're watching NYU versus Western. Steven Granaturov representing NYU and Joyce Shu representing Western.
And if you're unfamiliar with the collegiate table tennis structure here, this is a team event, 4 singles matches, head-to-head between 2 colleges, decided by a tiebreaker, if necessary, of doubles.
Just an unlucky bounce there off the top of the tape with the backhand loop. The topspin kicks the ball off the table. Steven now has a couple points he was able to string together, but he still trails 9-5.
Game point for Joyce here to take the first. Wow, big counterattack there. Catching Steven sleeping on the return, thinking he'd finish the point with that forehand. Teammate Terrence, who we just saw playing in the first seed, coaching Joyce on the sidelines after game 1. While Steven is conferring with Coach Yanji.
He's going to stand her ground in the table. She's going to open up quick off the bounce, and anytime she sees Steven step back off the table and start with opening spin, that's when she's like very quick to attack or to be able to punch or block down a shot. So Steven probably not having as much time as he'd like to execute some of those longer two-winged attacks off both. So I like the way he executed or structured that point.
Awesome setup there. Joyce stepping around the corner of the table to get a little bit closer on that high short backhand and punch that shot away.
It's something that she's comfortable with, but it also looks like it's something she's anticipating. As soon as she sees Granitorov take that step off and load up for a topspin on the backhand side, if it's sitting up high at any point, she's automatically thinking like step forward, punch down on that ball, and now it's just a matter of whether or not she executes, because that Joyce to open up with her opening soft tops of the forehand side.
Script really being flipped here in this second game. Coach Gao really must have said the right things. But obviously Steven still needs to execute on that game plan, and he is.
Yeah, this game just really is night and day from what we saw from Granitorov in the first game. It's almost like he felt like he had one to give just to kind of feel his way into this.
Western impressively making it this deep into the tournament with their strongest player missing from the championships. Manik Singh took the first place in the men's singles in the Great Lakes region this past spring over Yilan Dong from University of Michigan, who actually played against Manik in last year's Great Lakes Regional Final and lost. So it was nice to see him get a little bit of revenge there.
Yeah, just unfortunate that Manik Singh was not able to be with us this weekend. I know that he is a huge part of that Western program, but obviously they're putting their best foot forward here. Obviously, they've started the weekend having a very strong showing in women's doubles. They were able to advance at least to the quarterfinals here. Game point still in her paddle, so. And she closes it out. She takes game number 4, 11-9. And I'm really happy she didn't rush. She didn't try to do too much with that. She stayed consistent with just being very content with push and feel into and waiting until she gets her shot. And then Steven opens up with the offense and actually takes the ball a little long. So now we're in game 5. Obviously, NYU has already advanced as they clinched the fourth singles out on table number 2. So we're going to be curious to see how they approach this third one, knowing that they've already advanced. I'm sure from a competitive standpoint, Steven wants to still get the win, not only for his team, but for himself, as he had a really great comeback after losing game number 1. He closed out games 2 and 3, but he let 4 get away from it.
Joyce seeing an opening in that fourth game. Perhaps Steven a little flat-footed here.
It's no indication of how this game will go, as the unlucky nets and edges end up playing a factor into already very tight contest.
1-1.
I think you jinxed us here, Joe. That's 3 net balls in a row.
Yeah, again, you just hate to see it, especially after she had a really good run in game number 4. For her to just get some really unlucky bounces on the net ball here. You hate to see that kind of play into this 5th game. Graniturov overcooked that forehand by a mile. Again, a little sneaky last-minute forehand roll there from Graniturov. It didn't have a whole lot of power on it, but he definitely had a lot of topspin that Joyce probably wasn't expecting to come through that side. And then he follows it up with a big forehand inside out.
You see Joyce pushing towards the center of the court. You saw it a lot in game 4 right now, but trying to push sort of on the shoulder line of Steven, because that's a little bit more awkward than a body push. But the risk there is if it's just a little bit further to his right, or if he's able to step around it, the closer that push is to his shoulder line, the easier he can bring that forehand into play.
And that's definitely one that Joyce wants back. I mean, she kind of had a little bit of leverage in that rally. She was able to get the forehand that she wanted. She just caught it off the edge of the blade.
2 minutes.
And here we are. We have the women's team semifinal, the UCLA Bruins versus University of British Columbia. UCLA is going to start off their semifinal matchup with Angie Tan in the #1 singles spot. British Columbia is putting out Poppy Lee, not to be confused with Popular. My name is Joe Wells. I'm going to be joined in the booth by none other than the Mike Ref.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Mike, how we doing this morning?
Doing well. How are you?
Off to a really great start. We had a really fun co-ed match there just a while ago. NYU ends up advancing, having a very strong showing. Unfortunately, again, their team missing their top player. So I felt bad a little bit for Western as we saw that it was going to be a potential problem for them advancing into the later rounds, being without their top singles player, Monique Singh. That hurt them. Obviously, they had a very good showing, but really could have used the #1 singles player. But nonetheless, congratulations to NYU as they advance to the semifinals. But up here we have the women's semifinals. Again, UCLA versus UBC. Mike, I know that you've been kind of around the grounds a little bit, talking to some of the players, getting some quotes, some comments. I haven't had a chance to see Poppy play this weekend. I know that she's been real busy as British Columbia has a very strong team. I did see glimpses of doubles, but if you could, maybe shed a little bit on some of the stuff you've seen in day one action.
I believe I saw either Poppy or one other UBC player play when I was on table 2, but a solid player. We should see how she does against Angie Tan. Looks like they're both right-handers, shake-hand players, and they're about to start 0-0 with Angie to serve. All right. Poppy takes that first point.
And it does look like, again, it's really early to tell. We've seen Angie compete before. Very strong player for UCLA. UCLA always fielding a very solid team coming into nationals, rounding about form. But again, it's going to be very curious to see how Poppy responds to the pressure from Angie, as Angie really wants to get everything started with getting the return up. She's thrown the last 2 some pretty spinny short serves, and the idea is to get that ball up so she can step around and hit a forehand.
Yeah, a little net luck there. It's tied 2-2 with Angie to serve. Let's serve. Nice backhand opener by Angie to Poppy's backhand corner.
And I just really like the form there. She looks like she relaxed the wrist on that backhand when it got off the table and was able to really just rip through it out wide. So it was a really impressive backhand.
That was a nice serve, too, to set up that third ball attack for Angie.
And again, she's just playing really, really smart by getting her opponent to get the ball up early. I think Poppy is definitely going to have to, play a little bit tighter to the net. You don't want to see people put that much pressure on themselves, but she's just giving up way too many balls sitting up in the middle of the table already, and we're only 4-2 in game 1.
Right. Wow, that backhand is a real strong point for Angie so far. Got a lot of spin. Nice serve by Angie. 6-3.
And it could be very well somewhat, of pick your poison for Poppy, because she knows that Angie can really load up on either side with the topspin. So it's going to be a matter of which one is the weaker of the two. And it looks like she knows that she really likes the forehand, as that she has the most variety to where she can load up with topspin,
Right.
and at the same time she can flatten out when ready. So I think Poppy is picking the lesser of two evils, if you will, by kind of going to the backhand. But Angie has started off really strong by opening up with a lot of soft top on the backhand side.
Right.
And it's just really too much for Poppy to handle. As soon as that ball is one bouncing long, Angie is, like I said, loading up to hit a backhand loop, and Poppy is going to have to be able to do something to counter that.
Little pushing war there, and Poppy gets that point. It's 7-6 Angie to serve. Again, that backhand winner by Angie is really taking a number on Poppy. (6-8) Poppy to serve. Wow, beautiful angle by Angie there. Really wide to Poppy's backhand. It was a great rally too.
Yeah, just an explosive backhand out wide that she was able to curl around it. You don't really see that from most people. Usually they're perfectly set. She follows it up with a big one bounce long serve, forehand cross court. She's kind of just going through the motions in this game one as she has a lead 10-6.
Right. And Angie clinches that first game 1-0. And we'll see as the coaches now give some advice to their players. What would you suggest Poppy do in this situation to try to turn the momentum in her favor?
So it's really hard to say, because she started off with returning serve how she would. I mean, she just really didn't have a lot of options when she started the point off. Maybe to keep it honest, you would maybe play straight up the middle and see if you can keep it shorter, versus starting off by pushing the ball out wide and allowing Angie to just start looping off either wing, because she's comfortable doing both. But if you start in the middle, maybe then you minimize the angles that you're opening up the points with. So that's a possibility. The other thing is maybe she's going to actually have to just start taking her chances on any of the serves that are coming one bounce along, whether it's flipping it or letting it come off the table and looping it. She's going to have to just take those chances, because as of right now, just opening up with soft push on these heavy spin serves from Angie Tan is just not going to get it done.
Okay, yeah. Poppy to serve, second game. Nice opening point for Poppy. Now she's up 1-0. Oh, so, yeah, 1-0, Poppy. Poppy to serve. A little clip in the net, but Angie recovers and gets that point. So now it's 1-1, Angie to serve.
And that's a rally that I would like to see her engage in more. I mean, she's not favored in that, but that's really the only chance she's going to have, is unless she can kind of go toe-to-toe with some of the counter exchange with Angie and just give it a shot.
Right. 1-3 Poppy to serve. 1-4.
And that's a tough ball to really put away, right? She's moving from one side to the other without momentum weight transferred forward. She was really moving to the side. She just didn't get enough on that ball. Too much underspin. Yeah.
Nice forehand loop by Angie. Put her whole body into that one. A lot of spin, rotation. 6-1.
Just beautiful. Too good of a backhand down the line from Angie. I mean, it was just
And she's able to direct it like either way. Like she really has great control of that shot. Oh, nice placement by Poppy there. And Angie gets into the net.
Wow, just an impressive backhand punch.
Yeah. Over the table. Oh, the serve went a little too long. 8-3, Angie to serve. Angie went for a spinny loop, I think, and missed that one. So now it's 4-8, Poppy to serve. And they could go for a towel break, but they're still going.
Yeah, and again, at this point, it looks like Poppy's just really reacting to whatever Angie's giving her, and that just doesn't bode well for her here in the second game.
Huh, nice rally. Yeah, that was cool. Poppy kind of picked it up right off the bounce, did a little bit of a drop shot block sort of thing, and got that point. Ooh. Yeah, Angie's stepping it up even more too. She's attacking a lot more, just trying to finish this game and get to the next one.
Just a really aggressive backhand rip that she tails long off the edge of the racket. But again, I think I really like what we're seeing is that she took her pace up one more notch. It looks like in this game, and she saw that Poppy really did try to initiate some offense, but it's obviously it's just not enough. And there you have it. That's game number 2. Angie Tan of UCLA wins 11-6. Poppy Lee of University of British Columbia did make some adjustments there, but just not enough.
All right, so now a third game with Angie serving. Let's serve. That clipped the edge.
Definitely took a little funny hop there, but there was also a lot of spin on that ball. I mean,
it was a good point.
Souped up, so.
Yeah, 1-1.
Poppy
serving it. That was a nice control loop by Angie. She had it loaded with spin. She really took her time in initiating that loop. And
but that, again, that's still one that Poppy wants back. I mean, it could be 4-0, but now she's still only up 3-1.
Right.
Glad that she does have the lead here in the third game, but this is really the point. These types of points that I would rather see her engage in. Again, she's not favored to win these types of rallies, but she has a much better chance of being in this match by engaging in those rallies versus just opening up with soft push and allowing Angie Tan to dictate the point wherever she wants to kind of start. So I like the effort here from Poppy Lee.
Cool. Angie went for a humongous backhand winner, but it went a little long, and Poppy got that point. Now it's 4-3, Poppy to serve.
Joanna Sung takes the second singles out on table number 2.
Nice serve by Angie. Poppy pushes her into the net.
Again, yeah, good pressure from Poppy, keeping that ball deep.
Yeah,
Angie
deep.
tried to just quick roll it off the backhand, off the bounce, but sails long. Poppy maintaining her lead here in the third game.
Poppy went for an opener, but didn't connect. So 6-5, Poppy to serve still. Let's see what serve she does.
Just an explosive play there. 1-2 combo, forehand out, forehand down the line.
That was a nice flat smash by Angie too.
And that backhand was souped up with a lot of spin, Mike. Just got away from her a little bit.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do about a rip like that, especially one that clips the net.
Yeah.
And Angie again,
Nice
not
pressuring
being
deep.
gun shy
Yeah.
at all. She's still going after it off the backhand side. Just shows that she's just really an aggressive player overall, Mike.
Yeah. Poppy to serve, 8-7. Beautiful backhand loop by Angie there. It was like off the almost the side of the table there on her backhand
That's
side.
a really tough ball to try to judge.
Right.
I mean, Poppy was right to want to punch down on it, except
Yeah.
she just didn't have
Yeah.
the right angle to attack it.
Right. So with 8-8. Angie goes for a quick backhand smash, but ends in the net. So now it's 8-9, Angie to serve. Let serve. Nice. There we go with the bread and butter backhand loop by Angie. So it's tied 9-9 with Angie up 2-0 in games. But Poppy to serve, so she's got to have her best 2 serves right now.
Yeah, you don't want her to put too much pressure on herself, Mike, here, to just feel like she has to. Yeah, and she wants that one back. Backhand clips the top of the net and sails long.
So 1 match point for Angie here, 10-9.
And UBC calls timeout.
Okay.
Like at this point, you know, she's
Got to
still
do it.
got the serve
Yeah.
on her racket,
Right.
but trailing 9-10. What is it that you think Coach is possibly telling her? We've seen her go through some ebbs and flows of this game where it started off really slow, where it looks like she was struggling on return of serve, with opening with a lot of pushes that were just getting put away by Angie Tan. She did try to show a little bit more offense by initiating her own loops off the serve or one bounce long.
Yeah.
Ultimately coming up a little short in game 2, but she stayed with that game plan in game 3. Got a few errors off the blade of Angie Tan, where Angie was sailing a little bit long here and there. So Poppy's definitely still in this, even though she's down at match point. If she could just somehow find a way to win this point, go to deuce, and see what happens there. But I do like the game plan where she has tried to initiate some of the offense early versus letting Angie Tan just pick her spots.
All right, so now back at it after the timeout, 9-10 with Poppy to serve. Oh. Well, that's it. Good rally, but Angie ends up on top, 11-9, 3-0 in games, and that 2 for UCLA. That is 2 for UCLA now. 2-0, and so the pressure is now on UBC to make these next 2 singles matches count in order to get into like a doubles decider. But let's wait for the next match, and we'll take a quick break in the meantime. I'm Mike, ref, and this is Joe Wells, and have a good one.
You guys have a preferred color to choose between red and blue? Blue could be red. Blue, serve, receive, side, serve, this side.
And we're back, folks. This is the third singles on table 1 between number 2 seeded UCLA and number 7 seed UBC in the women's team's semifinals. I'm Mike Ref, and I have with me in the box Joe Wells. So we just saw before this one the match, the number 1 singles match between Poppy Lee and Angie Tan, with Angie clinching the match 3-0, and currently UCLA is up 2-0 in matches. So the pressure is on for UBC to get these next 2 matches in order to do a doubles decider if it does get to that point. So let's see. We have the 2 opponents warming up. We have Grace Zhang, who is a left-handed shake hand player, and we have Faith Tung from UCLA, and she is a right-hander shake hand player. So we'll see. It looks like they're about to get started.
Just a
Nice
great
rally.
point to start off there by Faith Tung of UCLA.
Right. Nice serve by Faith.
Feels like on paper that UCLA just opted to run their lineup pretty much straight up, putting the top 2 players in 1 and 2 spots. Whether or not they staggered those, it really didn't matter. They're clearly head and shoulders were above their opponents in those 1 and 2 spots. And then again, UCLA filling a very strong roster, as Faith Tung is no slouch of her own. Very strong game, and out on the 4th singles, Jian Ying of UCLA already having her way with Akshita Gupta.
Wow. Amazing point. That was a great one. We had each player kind of backing up from the table, but Faith Tung was doing some lobbing there with Grace finishing it with a smash. I'm liking these instant replays, Joe. This is really cool getting to see it.
Yeah, the tech team just really does an amazing job of year after year elevating a lot of what they do. I mean,
Right.
we have many different camera angles. We've got the great mics mic'd up on the nets where we can hear every little thing and pin drop on the table. So really like that. It's a pretty cool feature.
Right.
So
Definitely.
it's definitely added a whole, another element to
Exactly.
our production.
Yeah. It's the best way to provide kind of an immersive experience for the viewers that they don't have the privilege of being here in person. So it's great.
Yeah, especially for those people that aren't really here.
Yeah.
There's so many other amazing matches going out on outside courts. They just had a really exciting doubles happening in the team event at Indiana and UCLA.
Right.
On the co-ed side of things, went all the way the distance. Indiana coming out on top, but that's one of those that you have to be here to be able to see it.
Right. So right now we're at 6-4, and Grace is serving, so it's 4-6. So let's see what she does to try to reclaim the deficit. Nice serve by Grace. Faith attempts to go for a spinny forehand loop, but goes right into the net. Seven, 6, Faith serving. Nice. Looks like they're trading points here.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking about game number 1, feeling each other out.
Right.
It's like they were comfortable with the counter rally exchange. But I think, if anyone's going to really separate themselves, it's whoever's going to be able to handle those opening soft tops like that, right? Like Faith opened up with good soft top off the backhand. Grace just dumps it into the bottom of the net.
Ooh, a little luck off the edge for Grace, and it's 8-10, her serve.
Yeah, and it felt like at the end of that, obviously Grace Jean was just rushing, trying to overhit, if you will. I would have preferred her maybe to place that forehand to the backhand, just play another a safe top spin out wide until she felt like she really had a big one. But she loses that first one. Faith Tung wins 11-8 game number 1 for UCLA. Again, UCLA takes the 1 and 2 singles. If either of these 3 and 4 singles goes UCLA way, they will advance to the finals. Or more than likely, they will end up facing
Texas Wesleyan, which will be a fierce contender.
game number 2. Grace Zhang of UBC to serve.
Faith to serve, 1-2. Nice wide angle by Grace to Faith's wide forehand there to win that point. Grace is up 3-1 with the serve. Wow.
Just an explosive forehand there into the body.
Right. Looked like right, like the elbow area, that right where you want to hit.
She loads it up so big on that forehand side.
Great replay there.
And that was an ambitious backhand. She tried to counter it with against a very big forehand, soft topspin. But I like it. It's very spunky of her, but I like it.
Nice serve by Faith. Three, 4 with Faith to serve. Another great serve. So Faith levels it out at 4-4, and Grace is serving now. Grace Zhang. These last 3 points, it looks like it's just been a win off the serve now.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a sign of the players being a little anxious. And again, the trend continues, Mike.
4 in a row, we got to keep count. Yeah, typically it's about setting up like that 3rd or 5th ball attack, but if you can win outright on your serve, you might as well. And there we go again. 5. Wow.
And it's, you know, still can go either way, and it's early enough in the match that you don't really need to call timeout, but maybe take a little bit more time in between the serves just to kind of like settle yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That was a little longer rally. Faith finishes off with a nice controlled spinny loop to Grace's backhand corner. Grace to serve. Now it's 6-6.
And again, Faith just allowing Grace to kind of hang around in this game. She was really aggressive off that forehand. Obviously, so one bouncing long. She had her chance at it.
Looks like we're gonna have another streak of service winners. This is 2 in a row now.
Yeah, and there we were right back at it. Like, it's just really a tough game here.
Yeah,
no one was
definitely.
able to establish any kind of rhythm
Right.
or get any kind of points started. Really, it's all kind of began with the serve and service return.
It'd be interesting to know what happens in like the third and possible fourth game or whatnot, just to see if the players adapt to any of those serves that they've exposed or introduced in this game. You know.
A lot of it came from not necessarily errors of being safe, is that both players were trying to be aggressive. They were going for it, which means that they were electing to serve the ball a little bit long and then open up attack. And I don't know if coming out of the timeout, that's something that both coaches or both benches really talked about. But there you have it. Faith takes game number 2, 11-7. UCLA now is 1 game away from moving on to the women's final. Again, if you're just tuning in with us, you're watching day 2 of the 2024 Collegiate National Table Tennis Championships. I'm Joe Wells. Alongside me is Mike Reff. We're in a little bit of a game break, but we'll be right back.
I think it's a good time to just give a shout out to our sponsors too. We got Yola and the lovely city of Eau Claire, so visit Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Pong Space, Bluestone, and of course the United States Coast Guard. Thank you all. We'll be right back. All right, we're back for the third game. With Faith Tung of UCLA up 2-0 in games, and to serve as well, 2-0.
Mike, we're already off to a good start with some better exchange. You know, points are lasting a little bit longer than the service return errors that we saw heavy in that last game.
Exactly.
I would probably say about 60 to 70% of the points were all one off of service return errors.
Right. Grace went for a nice forehand flip there, but then Faith responded with a nice, with an even better smash down to Grace's wide forehand there. And being a lefty myself, I know that wide forehand is sometimes a weakness for left-handers.
Yeah, it just means you got to get faster, Mike. I don't know what you mean by weakness. It sounds like you're slow.
Well, my nickname's the Sloth, so yeah.
Hopefully not a lot of people are watching to remember that. We'll keep that one to ourselves. But if you ever meet Mike Reff, he is referred to as the Sloth.
Yeah.
Call an early timeout here by UBC as Faith leads 3-0 in game number 3.
It's a good timeout to do right now. I mean, she's down 0-2, 0-3. I mean, she's got to change the pace, change the strategy right now, or else Faith could go away and just like take the game like that very easily. So we'll see what happens after this timeout. All right, we're back after the timeout. It's 0-3 with Grace to serve. Let's see if she gets this first point to change the momentum in her favor. good start for Grace to get back into this. 3-1, Faith to serve. Beautiful backhand by Faith, right to Grace's wide forehand.
Yeah, just another big rip. When she has time, she will not hesitate to just really go after it on either side, but especially when seeing that backhand. That is impressive, as a lot of people don't have a really large, or excuse me, big backhand, you know, weak attack. Usually it's a safer, more controlled role, but Faith really goes after it.
Right. All right. So 1-6, Grace is to serve. She needs to get these next points to stay in this.
And it looks like on the outside tables that Ashita Gupta is looking to get UBC on the board for their first point.
Right. So, yeah, if Grace gets this one, then it would be tied 2-2, or if Faith gets it, then UCLA wins outright in singles for the team matchup. Right now, Faith is in comfortable control here at 7-2 with 2-0 in games. And she wins another point on her serve. Grace to serve 2-8. Looked like it was a chop block there, but Grace missed that point, and now it's 2-9.
Just a really difficult side underspin there for Faith to control.
Little net luck by Grace, and but Faith still leads 9-4 with the serve as well.
Well, you got to have a little faith that she can come back into this match. Service error there, service return error.
Yeah.
A few net balls. Next thing you know, we're at 9-8 here, and anything can happen.
Right, that's true. Very true. 5-9. Looks like she heard you a little.
What she was working up there, Mike, but just couldn't finish the deal.
Yeah. So 10-6, Faith in the lead. Faith in the lead with 4 match points. Right, sir. There you have it, folks. There's a little net luck there, but it was a great rally to end the match, with Faith getting 3-0, and that helps UCLA win it 3-1 in matches, and they advance to the finals, right? So against Texas Wesleyan, which will be some fierce competition there. We'll have a short break and have the next matches up soon. I'm Mike Reff, and this is Joe Wellston next to me. Have a great day.
Welcome back to the National Collegiate Table Tennis Championships of 2024 in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Right now we are beginning the Coed Teams Semifinal between the 3 seed Indiana and the 2 seed Texas Wesleyan here on Court 1. I'm Justin D'Antonio here with Stephanie Shea.
How's it going?
Going pretty solid so far. We are watching the gold medalists from our men's doubles final last night. The Algetti brothers, Gal and Sharon, who will be playing in the 1 and 4 spots here versus a very thick, or rather deep team as far as ratings go on the Texas Wesleyan side.
So this is a partial rematch from yesterday. So the 2 pairs that played yesterday were the Algetti brothers and Silva and McDonald. So they will be, pretty familiar with each other's games, but doubles and singles are totally different animals. So we'll see what translates and what doesn't. Obviously in singles you're not worrying about running into anybody else on your own side, and there's much more continuity and flow, so it's much easier to sort of dictate the point from one side.
Actually, they might have played each other, but as far as the men's doubles final, I don't think it was Silva that played. It was Jonathan McDonald with a different player who I don't actually think is in this singles lineup. One advantage of the Texas Wesleyan team is that they have so many high-level players that they can choose to adjust and pick seeds for their 4 spots based on the matchups that they see in their opponent in any given head-to-head. So yes, Santiago Montez Solarte was Jonathan's partner in the men's doubles final yesterday, and Santiago is not going to be competing in this this head-to-head against Indiana unless he's not in the doubles lineup either. If they do go to doubles, it will be Senura Silva, who's playing first singles right now with Jonathan versus the Algettis again. So a slightly different matchup than the doubles final last night. Texas Wesleyan crowd bringing a lot of energy early here.
That is pretty normal for them every year. They bring a very big contingent. They make a lot of noise. But that definitely ups the excitement of the match, which we always appreciate. But against Indiana, I don't think there will be a shortage of being vocal and high energy.
Absolutely.
So I think kind of what we talked about last night too with Sharon's game. Oh, calling a issue with the serve here. Oh, and it looks like they went straight to a fault and no warning. So one thing about NCTTA matches is they do have service judges, who are the individuals that you'll see in gray shirts on either end of the court. It looks like Algetti's requesting an explanation here. So I think we talked about this on the broadcast yesterday too, that table tennis is already difficult enough, and there's a lot of rules surrounding serves, so you definitely just got to be careful. So we'll see if this affects him mentally throughout the game.
Very elastic player, very experienced. I'm sure he'll be able to recover here. But he's always going to fight for every single point he gets. He has that type of energy, extremely competitive. In the men's doubles last night, we saw him cut his finger during the third game, coming into contact with the edge of the table.
It doesn't appear to be an issue today, so hopefully he's okay, because it would be a shame to have that, impact his game negatively in any way.
Absolutely. And I didn't really expect it to be after last night. We thought there might be a little bit of lapse after the break.
A little bit of a miss hit there, but he'll take it. Came off the end of the racket, but he was going for a winner in any case, so may have been his anyway. So I think what Silva needs to focus on is limiting his unforced errors, because Sharon's not going to give him a lot of freebies. It looks like he may have took a ricochet to the eye there. That is not fun.
Really clean serve return, leading to a misfire or mistiming on the Texas Wesleyan's side there. You don't see that often at this level, right off the serve return.
That was a really nice setup. So he served a little bit short and, not long enough that you can hit it comfortably. So the most that Silva could do is kind of, lift it back over, and it was just target practice from there. I think that's part of what makes Sharon's game so tough to beat, because he's got a plan. He knows what he's doing, and I talked about this on the stream last night too. He doesn't look like he's making stuff up on the fly. Every shot is very deliberate and controlled. Maybe not that one, but when he serves, he has a plan afterward. He's not reacting to the ball, because you'll definitely see some players like serve and see what happens. But that is definitely not his style of play. He has a plan after the short serve. A comfortable lead here for Algetti. I think part of what makes Sharon so consistent is the high hands. So hopefully, if camera crew can hear me and they can focus on Sharon's hands when he plays, it makes adjustments easier for him. Meaning he can easily switch to forehand or backhand as necessary without losing too much time or, an inefficient swing.
Interesting observation there. In the coaching corner for Sharon, we have his brother Gal, and I believe the other player there is his cousin. New to the roster this year. I haven't had a chance to see him play. Don't know if you have, Stephanie?
I have not.
I've heard he's quite the player himself.
Well, we'll find out.
Pretty dominant first game by Sharon here.
But Texas is very well coached, so we'll see what adjustments he makes there. So I think what I would say is Silva's got to be a little more decisive in his serve attack. He can't take anything for granted, and he can't give Sharon too many opportunities, because Sharon will capitalize on them. So if he can open, he's got to do it. That was very nice. Took him out wide to the backhand, opened up the forehand corner, and a nice little punch down the line.
Nice to see a big backhand winner there. Many players will shift out wide whenever they can, like Sharon did there, to take the forehand attack.
And I think Silva's got to be ready for that. Sharon serves that with the intention to let you kind of open it, but open it weakly, and then it sets him up for an easy counter, kind of wherever he wants, really, because you're a little bit out of position. so that gives him ample room to.
Another big backhand winner there.
I think, yeah, Silva's just got to be aggressive and stay on the offensive and make Sharon play defense, which is not to say that he can't, but offense is for sure his default setting and his preference. Pretty strong backhand there. And Sharon's high hands also makes defense a little bit easier, because even if he does have to react, there's not a whole lot of wasted movement. He can stick his hands out to meet the ball. Rush that just a touch. Missed the shot, but that's what you got to do, because the worst thing he could have done there was push it, because then Sharon would have just ripped it right back down the line. Very nice. So Silva is going to have to take more risks, but this is where execution comes in. More risk means you're going to potentially miss more, but this is what they train for. Nice. So you see again from Sharon the sort of side top soft backhand serve to let Silva open soft, but Silva made the adjustment this time, kind of came up and met the ball a little bit more, so he had a little bit more control of that shot. I think that hit the camera, which is considered the side and not the edge, so that's why it was Sharon's point.
Yes, it was.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It hit the net post.
Sonura's playing much cleaner this second game. Seems to have found his element.
Right, the shot placement is better. He's not just leaving it right in Sharon's wheelhouse. He's making him work a little bit. So that inside out shot is really designed to be a winner, because hopefully they can have it in slow-mo, but you can see once it bounces, it kicks hard out to the side, so it makes it difficult to time correctly, because you can't just wait there for it. It's the right idea, the down the line backhand. It just didn't land. I think he was a little bit late.
Interesting change up there. Sonura trying a forehand serve, sort of down the middle of the court. Didn't really come to fruition then, though.
I would stick to Sharon's backhand, honestly, because no matter, even if he attacks on the backhand, it's never going to be as scary as his forehand rips. So game point here for Sharon. Ooh, he rushed that one just a little bit. Looked like he was a little over-ambitious on that one, just rushed it.
Nice defense waiting for that error by Sonura, though. He was not in a good position.
Right, but you do all you can to stay in it. But he should try and avoid those types of points. One game point saved.
And an error to finish up game 2.
Trying to get a little too cute with that serve return. When you're trying to claw yourself back into a game, you want to try not to take risky shots like that. So shot selection when you're down is key.
Sonura had a really good run in that game, coming into around 6-6. Tied past the halfway point of the game, but it almost seemed like he felt pressure to pull away and started changing things up, taking a little bit riskier shots from that point on, versus sticking with what got him to that tie in the second game in the first place. And Sharon just pulled away.
And hopefully you can see in these replays, if you compare the kind of swiveling action, like when you're in your ready position to go left or right to see, depending on where your opponent hits the ball to you, you can kind of see Sharon is on a little bit of a even plane, whereas Silva, you can see his hands dipping a bit, and so that millisecond of delay to get your hands where they need to be could cost you everything.
Right.
Nice chop block there. Well, that's the downside of giving your opponent weird English, because when it comes back, it'll also have some weird spin on it. So if you're not ready for it, you can actually have your own trick shot backfire on you. So Silva cannot do that. If he's gonna serve and Sharon pushes, he has to be ready for number 3, because if there's a number 5, there's gonna be no more.
Sure, sure. And he pushed down the middle there, so gave Sharon a lot of option.
So I think Silva's strategy has to be to try and keep things to Sharon's backhand as much as he can. Because if he's going to step around, at least you make him work for it. If you keep giving him middle forehand, it's too easy.
Unlucky edge ball there, giving Sharon the point. Very aggressive game 3 here from both players, attacking from both wings.
So you can actually tell a lot about a player by their ready position. So you can see Sharon, he looks like he's basically queued up for a forehand from the jump. And so part of that is a little bit of getting in your head, of a little intimidation, but it's definitely signaling to you, like, yeah, I dare you. Give me a shot wherever. It's going to be a forehand down down the gullet.
About 150 rating points between these two players. Sharon is the 2nd highest rated active player in NCTTA currently.
Oof, a little bit of an unforced error there. So I was going to say is, like, when you see Sharon serve the backhand serve from the forehand side, that's what he's setting up for. He wants you to hit a backhand to his backhand, and you can see he's waiting for it. He's ready. It's quite difficult to get the backhand serve to receive it back to the forehand, which is why, as the server, you can cheat over a bit. Because, like, here, it's not a mystery. It's going to go to my backhand, and I'm ready.
Very interesting.
And it's because of the spin of the ball. If you think of the way it's rotating, it's just it takes quite a lot of control to direct that in the opposite way that it's coming. So if you follow baseball, you're sending the ball the direction that it's coming. So you can think of it, if you're batting, to hit the other way instead of trying to pull it. You into baseball at all?
I'm a table tennis guy.
There's more parallels than you'd think.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of patience. I like to be hitting the ball every time and not be one of 10 people on the field.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, there's parallels with spin in a lot of sports. You've got bowling, you've got baseball, obviously the other racket sports. In the science world,
yes.
It's called the Magnus effect. Actually wrote a paper on it in college.
Ooh,
yep.
Do tell.
Oh, just Bernoulli's principle, pressure differentials, all that. It's a lot of the same physical factors that help planes fly, really.
Table tennis and planes. It's all connected.
So much in common.
So let's see if Silva can take off here.
But
there you go. Comfortable lead, though. Okay. Interesting choice there. I don't know if Sharon received on the backhand just to give Silva a different look, but it didn't quite work out. It's an awkward transition to have to go from a short backhand on the forehand side back to the backhand. And see, again, backhand serve from the forehand side. sets it right up for his backhand to do whatever he wants with it, really.
Such a clean counter punch there. Sonura attacking well, but not getting it far enough away from Sharon.
He had the right idea there. He just rushed that a tiny bit. Like, I think he was so ready that as soon as he saw it, he was like, I got it, but then I don't got it.
Sharon intentionally popping the ball high with a lot of topspin and then
Exactly.
cheating in.
That was a nice serve. So I think that's what Silva's probably got to do. He's got to challenge the backhand. Because as good as Sharon's backhand is, he's not going to rip clean winners nearly as often as he would on the forehand side. Ooh, was not wide enough. It was the right idea, but he didn't quite get it down the forehand corner enough. As you'll see on the replay, you pull him over to his right, pull him over to his left, and then it would have been better if it was out wider to Sharon's forehand, but not quite executing there. That was much better. Unfortunately, did not pay off because Sharon got the get.
Sharon is very quick. And we were talking about Sharon and Gal's cousin earlier. If you tune into Court 2, you will see him playing over there currently.
So you actually are allowed to coach now from the sidelines. This was a fairly recent rule change within the last few years. Prior to that, there was no coaching, no noise from the outside, which I've always found kind of ridiculous.
Sure.
But we won't necessarily go down that rabbit hole today. That was a mistake. He should not have pushed that back to him, because if you watch the serve, we didn't see the serve on the replay, but it was a little bit dead. And I don't know if he was anticipating Sharon to flip it and he got surprised by the push, but you got to be ready for option 1 or option 2. Because if you push it back, Sharon's going to do exactly what you just saw.
Match point here. And an error gives Sharon a 3-0 lead, or a 3-0 victory over Texas Wesleyan at first singles. And that gives us, as far as the head-to-head versus Indiana, I believe a 1-1.
1-0. Oh. Not sure what happened on the other table there, but we know for sure this match went in favor of Indiana. And the way NCTTA teams competition works, if we get to a doubles match, you will see Sharon again playing with his brother Gal.
And we have confirmed, as far as this head-to-head right now, in the co-ed semifinals, Indiana versus Texas Wesleyan, we have 1-1, with first singles going to Indiana and second singles going to Texas Wesleyan.
You want a balloon? service. Which side you want? That side. Okay.
Wait.
You made it roll.
This is fourth. Starting up on court one here with fourth singles between Gal Algetti and Jonathan McDonald.
So this is a partial rematch from last night. So they obviously played in the final. They're familiar to an extent with each other's games, and kind of as we talked about yesterday, Gal's game is much stickier than Sharon's. It's not nearly so power driven, but he takes what you give him and doesn't miss a whole lot. So if you're gonna fire off, rocket shots, he's just gonna take what you give him and give it right back to you. I don't think that's quite McDonald's game. Well, we'll see how
McDonald's first year here at NCTTA competing, and he's one of our highest rated players. The fifth seed in the singles, and obviously making it to the men's doubles finals, losing to Indiana yesterday. So we expect to see many great things from him.
So Gal definitely has seen McDonald's serves yesterday, but obviously in doubles you can only serve cross court, so it's a very different look today. So we'll see how this plays out. Kind of a low quality return there gives Gal an opportunity just to completely open down the line shot. So placement is going to be very important for McDonald. He's got to make Gal uncomfortable. If he puts shots sort of right in Gal's wheelhouse, like, it's going to be not a great day for him. So you're going to see a lot of these types of points where Gal looks like he should have no business being quite so far away, but he gets him back, and he forces a lot of unforced errors from the opponent that can be frustrating. They make yourself look silly after you miss them, and you kind of get into your own head a bit. But McDonald's just got to stay focused here. Big
McDonald,
backhand
a cerebral player, very strategic. You can see him in the doubles yesterday, planning between points and changing up his strategy, playing cat and mouse.
Ooh. Not sure if that was on purpose, but that definitely deked Gal out. He was not expecting it to go quite.
Little pocket shot forehand.
Exactly.
Got jammed.
And I think he got caught cheating a little bit to his backhand side. Lucky net there, and you'll see Gal has a similar serve attack strategy as we just saw with Sharon. He's serving with his backhand, like waiting for a return on the backhand side.
We expect to see a lot of these players competing against each other again tomorrow in the men's singles, with them all being within the top 10 seeds.
We're getting a service violation on McDonald's serve. And I think he's saying he's blocking the ball with his head. Unclear. So we'll see if McDonald can adjust. Because there are definitely some folks who, if you throw them off a little bit, anything's not exactly according to plan. Everything kind of goes off the rails, but let's see if McDonald can adjust here. Nice point there. And so people might be wondering, well, why do you go straight to a fault? And actually, it's in the rules that the umpires are within their right to go straight to faulting points instead of giving warnings. So that is, in fact, in the rules, just to clarify.
And these players know how to serve. They're very familiar with the rules. Playing at this level requires them to have been competing at the highest level for years, training since they were kids.
But in some cases, that upsets them more, actually, counterintuitively or not. Because if you've been serving one way your whole life and no one's really saying anything about it, and all of a sudden you get faulted for it, their first reaction is kind of disbelief, like, who, me? How's that possible? But service violations are difficult to call, and they are really annoying to be on the receiving end of, for sure. So you just gotta stay in it mentally and focus on your execution. Because if you start spiraling and going out of control and blaming the umpire for losing the match, well, sorry, it's not a very compelling explanation. It's just not.
Sure. And mental fortitude is huge at this level. Neither team can afford this match to go down the drain over something little like that.
Exactly. And while on the other side, you may say you don't want the refs or the officiating to dictate the outcome. Like, I'm sorry, you're the player in the game. You got to figure it out. Oof. That was unfortunate misserve there. You can't really afford to give away points. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but it's true. You see Gal again with the backhand serve. Inevitably waiting exactly for the backhand corner. Hope they have this on replay.
Awesome patience there by Jonathan, making his way back in to attack.
It was a nice get there. That's what having a big wingspan gets you.
And not overplaying from a tough position.
And being ready for the next one. That was a very nice down the line.
Things are getting spicy here.
Very nice down the line misdirection. So I think if you see the replay, if they show it, Gal clearly thought he was going to go cross court there, and then at the very last second opened his hands to go the other way. It completely caught him leaning the wrong direction. So Jonathan now with the lead, actually. See if you can get 2 service points for the win. Mistimed that a bit. Rushed it. You can see the racket angle is a little too close, and he gets it off the end, off the edge of his racket. That was very nice. Again, so it looked like he was about to go cross court for a winner, and then at the very last second, he just opens his hands. Unfortunately, the replay, I think Gal's blocking the vision, but you can see at the very last second, he opens his hand and misdirects it down the line to the backhand corner. So game point here for McDonald. Not sure why Gal went for that serve. The backhand serve is working. Don't go from it. But maybe he was just trying to give him a different look. Down 10-8 is maybe not the time I would have done it, but here we are.
McDonald taking that game, the first game, 11-8, putting him in the lead, which Indiana really needs right now. We are at 2-1. All 3 of the other singles matches have completed. And Texas Wesleyan is leading 2-1. So Indiana needs this to force a doubles tiebreaker.
And that does seem, just based on this lineup that Indiana has, that's completely their intention. They put their 2 strongest players at the front and back, kind of, for, if you will, as sure wins. And they're obviously very, very confident in their doubles play. So, the thinking is that dropping 2 games, no big deal. They'll get it back in doubles. So, surely their ties are full of drama. But that's what we love here.
We live for the doubles.
Nothing like having the longest match possible.
Yes, who needs sleep?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
McDonald from Stockholm, Sweden, a freshman computer science major. Wow, opening game 2 with a very spicy point.
Good job staying in the point there. Not trying to do too much, fishing stuff back. Like you don't see him trying to counter loop.
Gal did everything right though. He was completely set up to finish him.
There you go. See, that's the same service sequence that's been working this whole time for Gal. The backhand serve to the forehand corner, waiting for Gal's backhand return. He should just stick to it until McDonald proves that he can figure it out. Just ride that out to the end. And that's typically how you want to approach matches. Like if you're doing something that's working, until your opponent gives you a reason to think to maybe try something else, don't even deviate.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Feeling a momentum shift here. The crowd's definitely coming into play. You see McDonald energized in the second game. Or maybe it's the fact that he's up 1-0. He seems more confident.
I think he was getting, I don't know if he got fooled on that one or was just trying to get too cute, but dunked that into the net.
Gal will be the 3 seed in singles tomorrow with McDonald, the 5 seed. Sandwiched between them is previous men's singles winner Kai Zhang, playing for University of Southern California.
So you saw there on that serve return, he's trying really hard to get Gal's backhand serve to the forehand side. It just didn't quite work out for him, but that really is what he should be trying to do. Or at least varying it, so he's not returning it to the same place every time.
Really nice defense, playing down the line, making space from far back and catching McDonald off guard, setting up for another forehand from that close position and having to quickly switch to the backhand.
Got him totally fooled on that one. So if you watch Gal, similarly to Sharon, his hands are high, which makes it much easier for him to get to whatever shot comes. Ooh, that was very nice. So the receive on that, and again, I don't know why Gal was deviating from the backhand serve, but in any event, but you can see on the replay there a nice slide return to get him leaning the wrong way, which opens the forehand side completely. That was actually not bad. Like, even though he lost the point, I think he got a little caught off guard with the trajectory of McDonald's return, but it was a really awkward one. And he's still not comfortable receiving that backhand serve. So I think even though he lost that point, he should stick with it because McDonald hasn't established that he can handle it well. You can see Gal actually got fooled on that serve too. He thought it was underspin, popped it up.
This is a very pivotal match here, with obviously Texas Wesleyan taking this head-to-head, making their way to the finals if they win it.
Ooh, that was a very nice setup for himself.
Meanwhile, with Indiana University, if they win this match, they would still need to win it in a doubles tiebreaker, win the head-to-head against Texas in a doubles tiebreaker afterwards. But with Gal and Sharon's experience playing doubles together and, you know, 2 championship men's doubles titles together here at NCTTA, it's almost a surefire victory there.
But never say never. Let's take it one game at a time.
That's exactly what Gal needs to do here.
nice serve sequence there. So that shovel serve on the forehand side is the same concept as the backhand serve. Actually, the rotation on the ball is the same. It's just a different look, and he got the return that he wanted. It was high and kind of not great quality. So good service there from McDonald. It was long topspin. Not sure if Gal just got fooled on it or he tried to do a little bit too much. It looked like he tried to, you know, inside out backhand that, which is not necessary, but let's see what happens here. Ooh, lucky, but I think that was actually the plan. You can kind of see same concept. Long backhand serve takes him out wide to the forehand, leaves the backhand side wide open, and who knows if, you know, if that would have ended the same way, but that was exactly what he was trying to do. Not the edge, but to put the ball out wide to the backhand.
You don't see that inside-out backhand very often in this.
Uh-oh, getting called for a fault on the serve. So at least they're being consistent. They're going straight for the fault instead of, you know, warnings for one and not the other. And see, Gal there going back to old reliable. That backhand topspin serve, McDonald has still not, even though he's got 2 game points, still has not shown that he can handle it, but he's got the serve now. So let's see if he goes back to the same topspin strategy. I personally would not here, because Gal may be geared up to sort of wait for that, but let's see. And he does not.
And it pays off here. McDonald taking game 2 for Texas Wesleyan over Indiana.
So Indiana in a little bit of a hole here, but there's no shortage of drama in these matches, so let's see if they can claw their way back.
It's really great to hear the energy from both teams supporting their players here. And despite the difference in the sizes of the squad, Indiana over there with only 4 players and a coach cheering just as hard as that Texas team.
Absolutely. Texas always brings the noise factor, the passion factor, which is what drives us here. So we love to see it. So for Gal, he's going to have to take a little bit more risk in this set to kind of get back into it. If he doesn't jump out to a quick lead, might be tough.
Right, the pressure's just going to build.
So I was going to say before, actually, just looking at some of the replays, McDonald has this one forehand shot down the line that looks really nice, but the problem is his weight is completely a not ready position for the next shot. So all Gal has to do is just poke it over to the forehand corner, and you'll see exactly what we just saw.
And
Another
the third
false
serve
serve
fault of this game, or rather this match.
And so, well, again, you never want the umpires to kind of dictate the outcome of the game. It is your responsibility as a player to get yourself in the right headspace to make your adjustments, because yelling at the umps is not going to help you. We'll just start there.
You see the difference in demeanor here between McDonald and the Algettis when they have disputes with these referees. Very respectful, professional, understands that these referees are just trying to do their job. But sometimes the energy that the players bring to those arguments, they're hoping that it will sway the decisions in some way, or And these players, they care about every single point they can get here. They want to claw for anything that will make it easier for them to win these matches.
But sometimes, in the heat of the moment, you get upset. And this game can certainly bring out the worst in you. But again, your responsibility to kind of take control of your emotions and channel it into winning. And practicing serves is boring. I think we can all acknowledge that. But when it costs you points, it makes you realize, oh, they're actually important to practice and actually take seriously. But here we are. You can see, hopefully they have the replay on that. His weight is in a ready position after the forehand, so he's ready for a next one, as opposed to there are some down the line shots where he kind of like has the weight on the wrong foot after the swing, and he's just not ready for the next one. But that's not what you saw there. So you see there, you can see here, and a few points ago actually, McDonald has made an adjustment to receiving that backhand serve. It's becoming a little bit less effective, so Gal is going to definitely have to try something else, because it hasn't become a reliable winner in this game anymore. I'd consider a timeout here, and that's what they're doing. So they're taking time, Indiana, and I think they're probably going to talk about this exact thing. That backhand service game is not quite as effective as it had been, and the reason why is because McDonald's return is not quite as high and floaty and target practice as it had been. He's varying the location middle backhand and not just backhand every time, as you can see here. Goes oppo, which is not where Gal's leaning.
Obviously, these high-level players refine and calibrate their shots as the match continues. Especially, you'll see a drastic change in reading of their opponent's hits. In matches like this, where perhaps these players have never played a singles match against each other before, or maybe they haven't in a long time, and once they can feel out the motions and the spin and the shot choices of their opponent and the patterns, it's going to lead to them playing better shots due to that improved anticipation.
Exactly. So the less predictable that you can be, and the more you can kind of keep your opponent off balance, is going to be a much better game for you. Makes your job a lot easier. Nice service sequence there.
And McDonald looked very confident that Gal was going to miss that return there. He didn't really get into position if Gal's return did make it onto the table.
Right, so fortunate. At this level, you can't really take for granted that you're hitting winners. I think I mentioned this yesterday, that's definitely a separator between levels. It's the higher level you get, the less of a surprise it is that shots come back to you. So that was a nice return. He didn't flip it. He didn't try to like slide return it. He gave it a nice heavy chop, which is clearly I don't think Gal was expecting. So even though the shot was high, he caught Gal off balance there.
You see McDonald really controlling all of these points from the get-go now. And Gal is not a defensive style player, so this makes it much tougher for him to make a difference from further away from the table.
Actually, I'd say that Gal's defense is one of the defining elements of his game, but it just happens that he's in this particular match is getting caught off balance there, and that speaks to McDonald's, adjustments. He's giving him different looks. He's not giving everything to the same place anymore, because I think, at a certain level, it also becomes about, as you said before, anticipation. Some might call it guessing, but it's really not. You're really playing a percentage game. Comfortable lead here for McDonald's. See if he can hang on. Six match points here for McDonald and bring Texas into the final.
I must say, I didn't expect this.
Why not?
Ratings-wise, I thought Gal had a great chance of making this more competitive.
And that's it. Texas Wesleyan wins 3-0 in this match, and
3-1 in the head-to-head against Indiana.
And so Texas advances on into the final, but Indiana will have the opportunity to continue playing. So the format for the teams competition is that you play out every place. So we want everybody to get their money's worth when they're here. So to play as many matches as possible and play out every placement. So thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back later.